Hi everyone, namaste. So my name's Nic Watson and I am passionate about helping people move away from bad habits to better habits. And I'm also really curious about how energy informs habits and how we can use the system of Ayurveda and its knowledge of energy to help mitigate habits that perhaps don't serve us well. So there are various energies that happen throughout the day. The energy of the morning is not the same as the energy of the afternoon and the evening. And many of our habits are related to particular times of day. So I want to ask, perhaps contemplation is to notice when your bad habits sneak in, because that could be a place in the day that you can start to shift the energy on what you do to help get rid of that habit. Habits are just repeated patterns that have happened so often, so frequently, that almost like inside your mind, there's a little tunnel that just, it's so much easier for you to go down that tunnel than to start to create a new groove. So maybe you have a pattern of smoking cigarettes. Oftentimes when I speak to clients, this is a really ingrained pattern first thing in the morning. So when I'm working with a client who's trying to quit smoking, I'm offering them different habits from the practice of DINACHARYA, which is the practice of daily habits, to give them something alternative to do that is something positive. I also explain, perhaps if they're doing something like a lemon water in the morning, what the benefits of that are, right? So that they're not just shifting the habit, but there's a reasoning behind why they would be shifting. And it takes a little bit of time to shift and cut a new groove. And that is what yoga and Ayurveda have understood, how to reprogram the mind. Perhaps you have a habit of drinking a little bit too much wine every night. Generally speaking, it's a nighttime thing. It's because you're trying to bring the energy down. Perhaps your habit is eating snack food or eating a lot of sugar. Again, when I speak to clients and just from noticing trends, I think that this is something that people struggle with at 2 points during the day, mid-afternoon around 2 or 3 o'clock, when the energy starts to go down, but you're still at work and you need some kind of ramp up. And the second is in the evening, late in the evening after dinner, when there's a kind of second fire that comes up in our body around 10 p.m. And if we're not aware of that, what we can do is go to the snack cupboard and start to feed that fire with sugar. Other habits that I've noticed are very particularly connected to times in the day, and really when we're talking about time, we're talking about energies, are late night shopping, late night scrolling, people lying in bed 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and they're doom scrolling, they are shopping online. This is a particularly insidious habit to have because we're really in a place where we're kind of unconscious. After 10 o'clock, there's a place where we're less connected to thinking and there's this unconscious kind of flood happening. So scrolling online and shopping is generally a late night thing for people. And again, when I coach people around the 10 daily habits, I'm giving them a little bit insight into what's happening energetically in the day and what they could do differently. So if your bad habit is, for example, cigarettes first thing in the morning, trying lemon water. Again, I don't like to just be like, okay, we're going to cut things out like this. I say introduce the lemon water first, at least before you have the cigarette, and gradually over time we work on reducing the cigarette. Perhaps if you're struggling with drinking too much wine in the evening, having a practice where you're journaling and releasing out through journaling, perhaps it's a gratitude practice or just writing down what you did in the day, offloading that way instead of using, oftentimes it's a red wine, a heavier wine to bring the energy down. And as far as, you know, the scrolling, the late night shopping, and the snacking, encouraging you to go to bed before 10 p.m. just because there is a huge energy shift that happens at 10 p.m. that would make it harder for you to put down the phone, would make it harder for you to put down the snacks. So that 10 p.m. cutoff is not just because, you know, your mom told you, it's because there's a natural energy shift. Perhaps your habit is around something more mental, that you talk negatively about your body. And so Ayurveda has practices where we can really begin to get back in touch with our body through movement, through abhyanga, oil massage, and negating all of the negative body talk. If you're feeling that you are in a food addiction place, then the course that I teach will help you to understand how you can transmute all that negative energy around food and shame and negative food thinking becomes negative food eating often. So if you have negative food thinking, oftentimes you're eating processed food, snacky food, junky food. And I take all of that energy that you have around food and transmute it, alchemize it into how can you have reverence for the food? How can you feel the energy in the food and know that that's connected into making an awesome body for yourself? How can you cook well with love? How can you have fun in the kitchen and make your dishes colorful and, you know, not beating yourself up and not being on some very fastidious diet where the energy, when we have diets that are too rigorous or we're too rajasic, what's happened is we hold the energy so tightly, it's like holding onto a wild horse, that eventually we get tired and we let go. And this is why so many diets and habit changing programs don't work, right? Not only that is you need support. That's the other thing that I want to say. When you are shifting a habit, you need some kind of extra energy to be able to cut a new path, to be able to tunnel a new place. You don't want to just be doing it by yourself because it's tiring and you will probably fall back into the same old habits. That's why I am teaching a live 6-week program. It begins in September. I coach every Sunday, and there's also access to a lot of videos and a group cohort. All of that together means that you are not only getting information about the energy of the day, about the habits, but also getting the energy of the group together along with my own personal interaction. I keep my groups small, so there's only ever maximum 12 people, and we really work together for those 6 weeks to help bring in better habits, newer habits that will support not only better health, but mental health. That a lot of our low mood, depression, anxiety, shame is coming from our behaviors. So if you're interested and you want to know more, I'm going to put the link in the comments below. You can check it out. And I'm also super available. The doors will close on August 27th. So if you're interested, get in touch with me and ask me any questions. And I hope that this will help you. Just start looking at the energy of the day and when you have those bad habits, and start to think about what energy is being needed. Do you need something to lift you, or are you needing something to calm you down? And if so, what could replace that instead? Thanks for listening. Hari Om, Om Tat Sat. Namaste.